13. Okay, well, less than 13. So that's the mark scheme, and let's now break this down so you can make some sense of this mark scheme. Right, so let's just pick one of the strands. So here is the first strand. Okay, well, it's not the first strand actually, it's the 4th, 5th, 6th and 7th strand. But anyway, it doesn't matter. What we're looking at is the fact is that you need to go in a step-by-step fashion. So let's say, for example, that you satisfy the requirement here, and you satisfy the requirement there, and you're thinking, very happy with myself, I've got 4 marks, and then you did a little bit of this, and you did a little bit of that. Okay, you're only going to get 4 marks, okay? So it's hierarchical. You've got to make sure that you meet all of the requirements for each of these strands. Okay, I'll go through that one more time. So let's look at this one. You've got to make sure you meet the requirements here to get 2 marks. You want to get 3 to 4 marks, you've got to meet all of the requirements, okay? Every single piece written down on here. If you want to get 6 marks, you don't want to get half of this, you've got to get all of those marks here. Let's say you just did part of this, you're still going to get 6 marks. So you've got to get all of this to get your marks. One last thing, strand A is the strange odd one out, I guess because they wanted 8 and they actually had 9 criteria. They've split this one down the middle. Okay, so this is still only worth 8, it's just that you've got 2 kind of options to run through. So you can either run through the top here, you can run through this requirement here, or you can run through this requirement there. Okay, and that's even doubly complicated because what you could do, you could meet this requirement, and then meet this requirement and this requirement and get full marks for 8. Most pupils, I would imagine, would just probably follow the top box, and that's the one I would actually recommend. That's how you're going to get the maximum marks. So there you have it. Make sure you get all of the requirements all the way from box to box to box. Don't cherry pick the little bits that you like. Pick the bits out one step, then the next, then the next, then the next. Okay? If you do part of these or part of this or even part of that, you're only going to get the minimum mark where you fill the requirements completely. Nice and clear, I hope. Okay, let's look at the first strand. How we're going to get 8 marks. I'm going to quickly go through the 1 to 2 and the 3 to 4. This basically says make a prediction. This one says suggest some sort of test, okay, and justify it with a bit of science. That's quite straightforward. I'm going to focus on this part here because this is how you're going to get your marks, and obviously on this part here. So with your experiment and your prediction, look here, you need to get the major factors, is a 5 and 6, and this says consider all relevant factors. So I would suggest you actually list down all of the factors to try and get this 7 to 8 marks. Okay, and then you want to say how this will affect the outcome. Well, my spelling is going awfully here, badly here, look. Okay, how this will affect the outcome. Draw your attention to the fact that you must get specialist terms. They must be used appropriately. Okay, for 8, it's full and effective use of relevant terms, okay, in scientific terminology, and the grammar must be correct. So all of the scientific background from your textbooks have got to be involved here for your test and your prediction. This is where you're going to put it in. So to summarise, we're basically looking at an investigation and we're going to look at a prediction. You're going to look at all of the factors, all of the relevant factors, okay, that can affect your experiment, and you're going to list down a sentence or two how they will affect the outcome of this experiment.